Planning a move is so exciting, right? But then you start looking at quotes, and let's be honest, figuring out the costs can feel like a total headache. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how removal companies come up with their prices. By the end of this, you'll know precisely what you're looking at.
You've probably been there. You get two quotes for the exact same move, and the numbers are just miles apart. It's confusing, but I promise there is a logic to it. We're going to break it all down so you can decode any moving quote like a pro.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the core numbers, then look at all the things that can change that price. After that, we'll dive into the fine print, and we'll finish up with some solid tips on how you can get the absolute best deal. Let's do this.
Okay, first things first. Every single quote, no matter which company you talk to, is built on a few key pillars. Think of these as the concrete foundation of your moving bill, the non-negotiables that set the baseline for everything else. It all boils down to these three things: how much stuff you have, how far you're going, and how they actually charge you. Now, what's really interesting here is that first point, volume. For most moves, it's not about weight. It's about how much space your stuff takes up in the truck, which they measure in cubic meters. Just so you have an idea, a typical one-bedroom apartment usually has about 10 to 15 cubic meters of stuff. That number is what determines the truck size, the number of movers, all of it. Next up, how are they going to charge you? You're pretty much always going to see one of these two models. An hourly rate is super common for local moves. You just pay for the time it takes. A fixed price, on the other hand, is what you'll usually see for long-distance moves. It gives you that peace of mind knowing the total cost up front, no matter if there's a massive traffic jam.
And yeah, this table just lays it all out perfectly. You can see how distance completely changes the game. For a local move, it's all about time. How long will it take? But for an interstate move, the whole calculation shifts. Now it's about the distance, the fuel, the complex logistics. Even the fees are different. You see how a local move might have a fee for stairs, while a long-haul move will have fuel surcharges. It's a whole different pricing structure.
Okay, so once you've got that core price figured out, a whole bunch of other variables can pop up. I like to call these the price shifters, because they are the things that can nudge your final cost up or, sometimes, down.
And get this, something as simple as a staircase can be a huge price shifter. Seriously, a fifth-floor walk-up, a super long driveway where the truck can't get close, even a narrow hallway. All that means more time and a lot more work for the crew. So the biggest takeaway here is to be totally upfront about these things. It's the only way to get a truly accurate quote from the get-go. When it comes to moving, timing is literally everything. I mean, just look at this chart. Moving on a weekend, or at the end of the month, or smack in the middle of summer is always going to cost you more. Why? It's just simple supply and demand. Everyone wants to move then. So if you have any flexibility at all, booking your move for a Tuesday or a Wednesday is one of the easiest ways to save some cash. Now, if you happen to own any of these beautiful, but let's say challenging items, you should expect that to show up on your quote. Look, moving a piano is just not the same as moving a sofa. These things need special gear, extra know-how, and sometimes even custom-built crates. That specialized care, well, it's reflected in the price. All right, so you have a quote in your hands. But what does it actually mean? What are you paying for? It's time to put on your detective hat because we're going to dig into the fine print and figure out what's included and maybe, more importantly, what's not. So your standard no-frills quote is almost always going to cover these basics. You're paying for the muscle in the truck. You get a team of movers, the right size vehicle, and they do the heavy lifting, loading everything up at your old place and unloading it at your new one. Simple as that. And this one is a biggie. I need to say this clearly because it catches a lot of people by surprise. Movers will wrap up your big furniture in protective blankets, for sure. But the service of actually packing up all your smaller stuff, your books, dishes, clothes, into boxes, that's almost always a separate add-on service that you have to ask for.
Let's talk insurance for a sec. All movers have to provide a basic level of liability coverage. But honestly, it's minimal. We're talking cents on the dollar. So for real peace of mind, especially if you have valuable things, you can buy what's called full value protection. Yes, it costs extra, but it means the moving company is on the hook for the full replacement cost if anything breaks or goes missing. So when you're looking over that quote, keep your eyes peeled for these potential extras. And don't be afraid to ask about them. Hey, will you charge me for boxes and tape? Is there a fuel surcharge? And definitely ask about call-out or depot fees. That's a charge for the crew's travel time from their base to you. They can be a real surprise if you're not expecting them. All right, you are now armed with all this insider knowledge. So let's turn that knowledge into action. This last part is your personal action plan for taking control of the process and making sure you get the absolute best price for your move. It really comes down to these 4 super simple but really powerful steps. First, get rid of stuff. Second, make sure the movers actually see your stuff before they quote you, either in person or on a video call. Third, if you can, be flexible with your moving date. And fourth, ask questions.
I absolutely love this because it is the single most effective way to lower your moving costs. Every single item you decide to sell, donate, or just throw away is one less thing that adds to the volume, the time, and ultimately your final bill. Start today.
You might want to take a screenshot of this. Seriously, these are the questions that are going to let you compare quotes apples to apples. They will save you from any nasty surprises on moving day. Any good, reputable mover will have clear, confident answers to every single one of these.
And that's pretty much a wrap. You now have the complete insider's guide to how removalists price their services. So I'll leave you with this one question. Now that you know how it all works, what's the first thing you're going to get rid of to start saving some money?